Your girl like me cause she probably want my baby, ayy.
Anyways, guys, Patriots, they had a pretty bad season last year, but they did some stuff this offseason. Let's see what their roster's looking like, again, as they go into 2025. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the NFL. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the New England Patriots roster grades. Again, 2025 season starts in, I don't know, like a month. Let's think about this. It's like a little over 2 months, or around that. Anyway, though, yeah, we're obviously in July. That the Hall of Fame game is actually in July. It's the 31st, so that's pretty crazy. NFL in July, I guess. Anyway, though, if you haven't seen past roster grade videos, I do strongly encourage you do watch the Aura Farm, which is the Tennessee Titans 2025 roster grades. That gives you all the in-depth things you need to know about this. But I'll go through this super quick, as I have done for every other team. All right. The way you get the way I figure out the roster grade is basically every single position has a weight determined by in terms of what I think the value of the position is, and like again that it brings to a football team. So the quarterback position is going to be more valuable than the tight end position, which I mean I don't really think anyone would disagree with. I mean some people would, but still. Quarterback's worth 5 points for every single grade. So the best way I can put this is that if I gave them a D-, they get 5 points. Every single grade, letter grade I give above them on that, that's going to increase that the point total by 5. So if I say, I don't know, I give them like 10 points, that means, or a D, that would be 10 points. So that's what's going to come up here. Again, you'll do that for every single weight. Do the same sort of thing for the entire offense. You'll get a grade for the offense. Same thing for the defense. Get a defense. And then you got some other miscellaneous things we'll get to towards the end of this. And then that'll figure out our total point total, which will be found in, again, a little bit of a flexible range. It doesn't mean because it lands in one of these point value ranges that, again, it will definitely, again, correspond to that letter grade, but usually does. And then, again, offense and defense have the exact same sort of thing. Also, if you do get an F at a position, which is I don't know if I might have given that one of those out. I don't know. I don't really remember. But F, you get no points. So that's really bad. You don't want to get an F. And, again, we look at it. If you get 234 points, that's kind of the average benchmark. Again, a lot of teams are going to get over that, which is what you want. But still, I might change it. That is all I have for that. And now let's talk about the Patriots quarterback situation, which, again, is ongoing. Well, most of you did not watch much Patriots football, and if you did watch any, it was probably when they upset the Bengals week 1. I was there too. I mean, that game was awful, but hey, the Patriots did win it, and again, the Bengals suck in week 1 anyway. But that's besides the point. That was when Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback. He is no longer their quarterback, and to be completely honest with you guys, I do not know where Jacoby Brissett resides right now. Where is he? He's on the Cardinals. Yeah, is he their backup? We'll get to the Cardinals. I think we're getting to them actually pretty soon. No, not their resume. That's for when we figure out what their record is going to be. But for the Cardinals, yeah, he is their backup. That makes sense. All right. He started like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 games last year for them. And Drake May, though, he was the number 2 pick in the draft. He came in after week 5, and he started for a while. And he had a overall pretty encouraging rookie season. Yes, the numbers aren't spectacular. He did take a decent amount of sacks, not like a terrible amount, but like it is something to note. And I do think that he, despite having some very good ball placement overall, that could be something he could definitely become more consistent with. Not a thing that, again, definitely a high-end talent of his. We all know the arm strength. We all know the sneaky athleticism. No, he's a tremendously athletic quarterback. His footwork has gotten a lot better. Still not as good as you'd want it to be, but for, again, a guy who's never, I think, going to have, like, elite footwork, again, it's definitely gotten a lot better. He reads the field really well just naturally, and I think, again, maybe getting more confident in those progressions will really help him out and maybe not make the same mistakes he made last year against zone coverage. With that said, though, Drake May still, I wouldn't say relative unknown, but a guy that you probably wouldn't really know how it's going to go this season. Again, he's still, like, he's talked like quarterbacks class last year. He was the clear number 2 guy. So, no, I'm joking. He was, like, number 3. But still, what is it called? But yeah, it's interesting with Drake. He's still a very, very good quarterback. But we'll see how it figures out. But again, what he has here, again, maybe get set up the field. But still, Drake, very, very intriguing guy there. Josh Dobbs, the backup, might not be the most encouraging thing, but in the same time, like, guys, this guy just flat out plays. Yes, as a runner, he is not, he's not even that, like, he can run, but, like, I don't even know. he's like, again, we had that stint in 2023 where like everyone thought he was like the greatest thing since sliced bread again with the Vikings and again, not really the Cardinals. He was, I mean, okay, I guess overall with them, not good, but like okay. And then again, he kind of collapsed with the Vikings. But again, he had those 2 weeks where he was crazy. And then yeah, he started 13 games last year, or 2023. Last year, kind of mop duty for the Niners last year. Again, I think he did do something in Week 18. But yeah, honestly, as a backup, he's not the worst guy to have. I mean, it's probably not the best thing you want as a backup, but like. He's played for sure. Ben Wooldridge, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I've never seen this guy throw a football. Louisiana is never really known to have good quarterbacks. I might have watched a little bit of him last year. Again, the Louisiana is usually like Conference USA sort of thing on CBS Sports Network. Are they even in the Conference USA? They might be in Sun Belt. It really doesn't matter. Ben Wooldridge is just not a guy who I'm not really moved by. But with that said, we'll see if he can make the roster. This quarterback situation, I will give it a C because again, Drake May, like, I want to give him a C+. I think that is very, very, very encouraging last year, but I'm a little bit worried if he's going to really take a big step, or not even a big step, like, have a good season. So, I really like him, guys, but, like, I don't know if I can give him anything more than this just because, like, I don't know if it's really that fair. I think you could give him a C+ if you really wanted to because he definitely had a better season than Caleb Williams, who we'll get to when we get to the Bears roster grades, but overall, I think 25 points, a C, I think is conservative for sure, but I think that is pretty fair to say if we're going to look at a value of the season. Moving on to the skill positions, and yes, this Patriots running back room has had their ups and downs last season, but at the same time, they got a very interesting backfield here. Rhamondre Stevenson has been their starting back since 2022. That was his best season by far with the team, where he was arguably a top 5 back in football. Great efficiency. He was literally the only guy in this offense doing really much of anything. Biggest things to note, though, the past 2 seasons as a receiver, he has taken a lot less in terms of the usage. But again, he also hasn't really been as good. As a runner, I will say last year I think he had a little bit better of a season than 2023, but still not that great. He's just not a guy that I'm really like that confident in. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you guys. He can break away a big run once in a while. He's definitely a starting caliber back, guys, but like he's definitely not like a top 10 guy back by any means. Again, he's a starting guy. Like he just doesn't really. He's not that exciting, but still, he's definitely a starting caliber back. He's been really the only competent guy in this entire offense, outside of a guy we'll get to in a little bit for a while now. Travion Henderson. Again, he's that speed running back. He's not a great pass protector. I think he's not the worst, but yeah, he's just not the greatest. As a receiving back, he definitely isn't the greatest. So again, that kind of like takes away of him being like a third down guy. But he would definitely get some good usage. He again I think he's got better breakaway speed than Rhamondre Stevenson. But again, in a lot of ways they run very similar. So I don't really know how that's going to work out too well. But yeah, he'll definitely be fighting with Antonio Gibson. We'll get to in a second for carries and really just touches. But again, he's a guy who I think again has some pretty high end potential in terms of we're going to see again if he gets a good offensive line, definitely 1,000, 1,200 yards a year just because again he can break big runs and he's got pretty solid vision. But like overall again, he wasn't a top like 10. He wasn't like a top prospect for me by any means. No one really had him there. You got to just be able to say that as well. Antonio Gibson definitely a receiving back. There's no way again around that either. As a runner last year, definitely very efficient. A lot better than what we've seen again after again that 2021 season where we really got a full workload of the Commanders. Didn't really do much of anything. But again, last year, there were talks of moving to receiver, and he really didn't have that great of a season as receiving back, kind of his calling card. But again, he had a pretty solid year on the ground, and I think again, maybe a third back or as a receiving guy. So you can get back to that. That'll definitely be a big part of his game. But they go 3 deep for sure at running back. Travion Williams has never really been a guy you're going to look at and be like, yeah, this guy's going to be a stud. Again, he was with the Bengals for a while and was a solid returner for them. Again, 2020 was really his only season like with some sort of playing time as a running back. He's got good speed, but that's really about it. He's not going to break tackles for you. He's not going to make your offensive line look better. And again, if you don't have a good running scheme for him, he will be pretty terrible. That's why he doesn't play. But at running back, I'll give them a B-. I don't think this is the worst group in the world. Like I said, Rhamondre Stevenson is really the only guy in this offense that you could consistently say, yeah, is going to be solid or just a good player. Travion Henderson, though, Antonio Gibson, again, solid depth. Honestly, it's not the worst group in the world by any means. I'm not moved by Rhamondre Stevenson. And again, a guy like Travion Henderson and Antonio Gibson, I wouldn't really call number 1 backs either. So, again, solid situation overall for them, but, like, I mean, they could definitely do better. At wide receiver, again, if you didn't see the offseason short for the last night, again, if you're watching this at 6 or 7 in the morning, I mean, good for you. But, yeah, if you didn't watch, Kayshon Boutte was probably their best receiver last year. He is not this year, just want to say that. Stephon Diggs, again, I said it was like, that's not true. Stephon Diggs last year in 8 games had a pretty, honestly, I really like what I saw last year. Again, he tore his ACL and stuff, I understand that. But, again, we're probably going at a full game pace. He was probably going for, I don't know, like at least 1,000 yards. I think, like, he definitely created separation better than he did in 2023. Overall, definitely showed maybe more signs of what we saw, even back to what he had in 2020. But guys, this is a perennial 1,000-yard receiver. receiver, even with the way he played with the Bills in 2023, which really wasn't that great, to be honest with you. Because yes, again, the numbers were still really solid, but again, like it just wasn't the same player, to be honest with you guys. Again, you're talking about the playoff game he had and all that, but like that's kind of overblowing it. He was still a really good player, but like he just wasn't doing the same things. Last year in 2024, I think I just saw a little bit more of that, what we wanted to see, but like at the same time, like ACL injury, he's 31 now. He definitely doesn't have the same speed, and I don't really see him change direction the same way as well. If he can get 1,000 yards out of him, I don't want over 150 targets would be asking a lot out of him. But again, if he can just be a guy who can be a number one answer for them, would be huge. Again, he was 2020 was probably the best receiver in football that year. Again, he's done a very consistent guy in the past. Again, overblown in terms of what he did, but at the same time, like the injury, he's not really the most likable guy either. So like I don't really know what to go off with that. But yeah. When he's on the field, he's probably a number one receiver. But again, the injury and stuff, like there's definitely some concerns there. Demario Douglas is awful. Yes, he got targeted 87 times last year, and I mean overall, I mean he was catching passes. I mean, and the separation metrics aren't bad, but just watching him play, and I'm like, this guy is a guy who should be a deep threat, and he just simply is not. And also, he's just not that productive, to be completely honest with you guys. And Ian, he's a bum. I don't really tell you guys. Demario Douglas is just not a good player. You don't want him to. This is just, it's not a good situation. Kyle Williams is probably their most future projected player, to be honest with you guys. I liked him a little bit out of the draft. I just didn't really like the way he ran routes. His release package was very limited, and he's just kind of a raw prospect in a lot of ways. Definitely doesn't have that high-end potential that we see in like some of these top receiving prospects. But at the same time, this guy does have he definitely has an it factor for sure, and I think that's something that again will carry with him. But the question is, can Kyle Williams like really step up this year? Because they're definitely going to need it. Matt Collins, again, really weird dude, but again, you got to embrace that for sure. He's never really been a good NFL player. Again, 2022 the Raiders, I mean, he put up some numbers for sure. But outside of that, again, the past few years it's kind of been limited. He's not really a guy you're going to look at like really be anything more than maybe once in a while make a big play on a jump ball. He can't separate a little bit, but like yeah, guys, he's definitely your like fourth receiver. Again, decent depth guy. He'll make a play here and there, but like nothing special. Keyshawn Butte, again, he was so bad in 2023, so bad. Last year, yeah, proved some people wrong. I definitely think he'll be a guy that again, if he gets a little bit more exposure and maybe gets rid of the kinks and continues his upward progression on route running, I think he's definitely a guy who could break this lineup. I don't really see why not. Again, if you watch the short, again, like he was probably the best receiver last year. Again, Kyle Williams definitely gets some shots over him. I don't really know why Demario Douglas is though. So again, we'll see how that goes. Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. He was actually off to having a pretty solid year as well. With them, I don't know. He probably wouldn't have got to 1,000 yards, but in the way he was playing, he was definitely their best offensive player. Outside of that, though, 2024, he just wasn't very good. Again, he had a couple decent games towards the end of the season, but like he's kind of washed at this point. I mean, just the injury and all that. Jalen Polk was probably the worst receiver in football last year. I don't care that he was a rookie. He wasn't the worst rookie receiver. Javon Breaker didn't really get a shot, but he really didn't earn it either, so I don't know. This receiving room is not good. I'll give them a C. That might be nice. Again, getting Stephon Diggs is really the only thing that's going to keep him there. Because, yes, Stephon Diggs when he's on the field is a legit number one receiver. Again, despite, some of the things there. Outside of that, though, I mean, there's options, but they're not really good options. So I don't really know what to go with this, guys. You can argue C-. It's definitely better than it was last year, though. So I think C is, that might be a little bit too fair. I'm going to say, I'm going to give them a C-, guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Stephon Diggs, yeah, again, the ACL is just really, really off, getting me off here. But again, if he was healthy, probably a C. But, like, guys, this is, like, worse than the freaking Titans. And, like, but, like, he's better than Calvin Ridley, so I don't know. I'll give him a C. Again, it's just not a good group there. That's 15 points, I think. Then we look at tight end. And at tight end for them, Hunter Henry is a great option here for them. He had, again, hasn't really been much of a touchdown scorer. Over the past 3 years, I guess he had 6 in 2023. But last year, he was definitely their best receiving option. He led them in receiving yards. Very solid tight end. Never been the greatest blocker. Again, we thought him more as an athletic sort of guy in the past. But again, after those injuries, he had early in his career kind of like moved away from that, and it kind of evolved into a sort of like serviceable, like sort of like everything sort of tight end. And that has served them very well as well. So yeah. Hunter Henry's a very solid guy. Austin Hooper really has just not, he's kind of like disappeared after that 2018-2019 span with the Falcons where he was really freaking good. Last year, though, really didn't have a bad season. He's a solid backup, in my opinion. Like, again, you could even start if you wanted him to. Again, kind of like, I wouldn't say rebirth, but he's kind of like found himself a role there. Gene Bell and Jax Westover are really just blocking guys at the very best, and that might be being nice. But at tight end for this group, I'll give them a B. I really think there's a solid tight end room. Again, those two guys. Again, the depth again could be better, but like, B. I'm gonna say B minus because like Hunter Henry, really, to be honest, he's not that great. Like, a good player, but not that great. And Austin Hooper, again, like solid player. So, again, I think it's definitely a little bit underrated. But at the same time, it's nothing crazy. Like, there's some warranty to that. So, 14 points. Time for the offensive line. O-line was a massive issue for the Patriots last year. They just could not sustain blocks whatsoever. Really, there's only one guy that could have, and again, it's no surprise who it was. But again, overall, there's some decent depth here in terms of the experience, which I really like. But the continuity is definitely a concern. Will Campbell is the 4th overall pick in the draft for a good reason. Many people think that he'll fit better as a guard because he's very tenacious as a run blocker. Not, again, even close to, again, maybe level as a guy like Ukem Kwanu. But again, very good run blocker. As a pass blocker, yes, he doesn't get off the line super well. Maybe not the greatest against finesse rushers, but against power rushers, he does sustain really well. So Will Campbell, again, really just fits out there. Left tackle, again, he's not the greatest prospect. He wasn't even a number guy as Amari Membo was, but guys, still a very, very good prospect. But Arian Lowe was just pretty bad last year. I don't know what else to tell you guys. He's just not a starting caliber player. Does have the athleticism, I think, to stick out there when you need him to, but overall, just again, not a very good player. Cole Strange is just again, Bill Belichick made this pick. It wasn't a very good pick at the time. It isn't a good pick now. He had a couple games last year, again, with injuries, as well, where he looked okay, but outside of that, guys, he just not been an effective blocker for them. Layden Robinson, I love this guy coming out of the draft. I was like over the moon on him. Last year, though, completely honest with you, he just didn't look that great. Also just had definitely some struggles. Again, his pass protection was what I rated about a lot. Yeah, solid run blocker, but his pass from, like, this guy has so much potential here. Didn't really look that good last year. I think, again, he's a guy who could earn a starting spot because, again, Cole Strange is just not very good. But, again, didn't really show much last year. Garrett Bradbury, very average center. Again, some people really like him. Some people really don't know who he is. Again, he's kind of a center. Like, who is this guy? I think he's just kind of, I don't really know. Like, he doesn't really provide anything. Like, if you, like, watch his film, you're like, yeah, he can block somewhat, but, like, what is that going to really tell you? Like, I don't know. He's not making a big impact on the game. He's not anchoring anything. He's not, like, their entire run scheme. Like, I don't know. He'll let me help this team out with his consistency, but, like, I don't know. He's just not someone that, like, moves the table for me. Jared Wilson, I don't know. He's out of Georgia. He really didn't do much for them at all. He kind of just stood there, snapped, just was doing his own thing. But again, at the same time, like, he'll be a decent backup. Mike Onwenu, very versatile, very talented player. Again, I think the fact that he's played so all three positions, really, he's never stuck at one. And the fact is, scheme, as again, just really his pass blocking group overall. Again, his run blocking is always going to be good. That's why he's able to move everywhere. Has put him in a spot where he might not be as effective as he could be. But again, overall, very versatile, very, very good player. Again, I don't know if he has been as good as he was in like 2021, 2022. But again, still, the past few years have been solid play. City So is just not a starting caliber player, but again, he's decent depth. Caden Wallace played a little bit last year, was not good. DeMontre Jacobs was even worse. Morgan Moses, again, despite the injuries in the past, he's always been, again, a solid veteran player. He'll give him a good player overall. So outside of Cole Strange, this offensive line should be pretty decent. The depth I like a lot as well. I'll give them a B-. That might be a little bit nice, but, like, I think that's fair to say because, like, I think a C+ is actually a little bit more warranted because, let's be honest, like, none of these guys are elite players. Yes, Mike Onwenu has been elite in the past, but again, he really hasn't played like that the past couple of years. Garrett Bradbury, I'm not the biggest fan of. Morgan Moses is, again, solid player when he's on the field. Again, he's out of injuries. He's also old. The depth is good, which we'll get to, again, with the depth. That will be rewarded. Cole Strange is just not good. Layden Robinson, is he, like, that much better? Like, I really like him, but, like, at the same time, like, he didn't play low last year. And you got Will Campbell, and, yeah, like, rookie, we'll see what happens. But, again, at the same time, they should be good there. Again, this is more of, like, a kind of conservative thing there. 12 points, though, for the offensive line. And then when we add all this up, that's 25, 21, 15, 14, 12, we get to 87 points for this offense, which isn't going to look great. I think that's in, like, the C- tier, which, again, is really where they do belong. Because, guys, let's be honest. This offense, I think, was the worst in the NFL in scoring last year. They definitely were the worst in 2022. Yeah. Right? Yeah, there we go. Again, Jerod Mayo really didn't help this offense at all. Again, they weren't going anywhere with him, to be honest with you guys. But again, the quarterback situation, I'm a little bit concerned for Drake May. Again, I think he has all the tools in the world. He's really had a decent year last year, but again, it's really being consistent and, again, being better against zone coverage. The skill positions are just not great. I think tight end position is competent, but the running back room is like you need a better running back when you just don't really have much of a receivers option. And yes, Stephon Diggs could have a great season, really help this group out, but I'm not I'm too buying on that. The offensive line is a little bit of question as well. So again, really nothing that you're gonna be like too crazy about. And again, they also have just been one of the worst in the league production-wise the past couple of years. So it's kind of hard for me to even give them this C tier. But again, they do have the roster to be able to do it. So that's what this is all about. With that said, time for the front seven of this defense. All right, talking about this front seven, we will start at the D line. They do run a 3-4, so again, we'll be able to get to the edge rushing group, which I have a lot to say on. But this defensive line is very interesting. Millen Williams is the most overrated player, or overpaid, and I wouldn't say overrated because some people really don't care about him or how good he is, or just all that in general. Most overrated player in the league. Yes, the pressure numbers and the win rate or pass rush win rate, I don't really like at all because I mean you can just like kind of graph it on film. This is geeked. What are we doing? We're just going to reload this so we don't have to deal with that. But Millen Williams, guys, he has never been a productive player in football. Yeah, he had 5 sacks this year. Yes, the pass rush running, it was okay. Yes, on film, he had some moments. But as a run defender, yes, 2023, again, I think he did an okay job. The tackle numbers are definitely inflated. But again, he isn't, in his career, he's not been an effective run defender and his pass rusher. He has really only done some things when he's had Jalen Carter out there with him. Millen Williams is not a guy you pay $104 million over 4 years. Telling you guys that right now. But while I think he is tremendously overrated, he is not a bad player by any means. He'll provide some production for them. Jeremiah Farms Jr. is a guy that did play a good amount last year, just simply does not control the gap at all as a run defender, but as a guy, he can drive and penetrate a little bit, so that'll definitely be used. Curtis Tunga, former Viking. Honestly, guys, he's just a straight-up nose tackle. I mean, there's no way around it. He'll like, just kind of stand there. Very average player. But I will say he does penetrate a little bit more than the average nose tackle, which is kind of what keeps him around. But, I mean, just very average player. Jaquel Roy, he's a backup nose tackle. He's not going to get any pressure, like, whatsoever. Complete donut in terms of that. But at the same time, again, like I said, he maintains gaps pretty well. Not as good as Curtis Tunga, though, so that's why he's a backup. Christian Barmore, very interesting player here. Again, 2023, he was probably the third or fourth best defensive lineman in football. But again, last year he had like a blood clot issue and stuff. Again, he's an absolute elite player from what we saw in 2023. But like, I don't really know right now because again the injury or the blood clot thing. But again, if he's able to play, like he's gonna be very good. Joshua Farmer, I liked him and I didn't like him. There's like kind of like a love-hate sort of thing with him in terms of what I saw on film. But at the same time, like he should be a productive player in the league, and if he gets the opportunities, again, at the very least, he's decent depth for a group that isn't the deepest. But the starting wise, again, Christian Barmore sure could be great. Milton Williams, again, like I said, will be a solid player despite me not. Again, I don't think he's that good. Curtis Tunga, solid defense. Not even solid. He's average in nose tackle. The depth could be better. This is conflicting for me, but I'll probably give them a B- on their D line. That might be even be nice because like Milton Williams isn't that good. But yeah, still, they got 2 solid players there. That's even something. 6'12", 14 points for the D line, and we look at the linebacker position. Christian Ellis, former Saint. Last year with the not Saint, what the heck? I'm thinking the other guy, Caden Ellis. Christian Ellis, there we go. He didn't really play at all for the Eagles, like whatsoever, and then he went to the Patriots, didn't play at all. Last year he started. He was actually pretty decent as a really just kind of an off-ball sort of demon there. He did some things against the run, but he's just not really that effective of a player, to be honest with you guys. Not really be the greatest. But I will say in coverage, he does provide some versatility, which is good. But I don't know if that's going to get you far when you're just not really that effective against the run or really overall managing that defense. Robert Spillane has proven in the past to be a really good run defender the past few years with the Raiders. He has been a freaking beast. Steelers in 2022, best season in coverage. Last year, his rating against has been pretty bad. But again, he's proven to be some sort of a playmaker and has also been a guy that I think will really help out this defense a lot in terms of, again, them really being better. Jelani Tavai, I really don't know why he isn't starting. Yeah, I don't think his 2024 was as good as his 2023, but again, he's a really solid run defender, and again, in coverage, he's never going to be a guy going to really want to see against a slot receiver, but he's gotten much better, and ever since that 2020 season with the Lions, where he was the worst linebacker in football, he has gotten exponentially better, and I think he's a guy who should have been made the Pro Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah, last year probably wasn't the same sort of player, but still a guy that I respect a lot. Jack Gibbons, another good player, or not good player, decent depth guy here. Again, with Titans 2023, he was pretty decent. Last year, he was kind of bad, so I don't really know what to go off of with him. He's definitely got some athleticism, some good physical traits, but I don't know how that's going to take him because he does have some consistency. Again, we'll get to Mike Vrabel in the identity, but again, he's bringing a lot of Titans guys over here, specifically Monte Rice, who I think will be a solid special team for them. Anyway, though, amazing depth of linebacker for this team. The starters, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Christian Ellis, but again, at times he was pretty solid. He has some very good things going for him. Ross Spillane is a legit starter, though. I'll give them I'll give him a B- thing of linebacker as well. That's pass rush. B-, because, let's be honest, guys. Jelani Tavai is a solid player. Christian Ellis is going to do some things for you, and Robert Spillane is good. But I don't know. The depth is really good, but like the actual starters, I mean, you could definitely do a little bit better. So 21 points. Then we look at pass rush. it's scary off the edge, to be honest with you guys. Harold Landry just isn't an efficient guy. Yeah, he puts up sack numbers. Again, he missed 2022 with an ACL after a 2021 season where he put up his best pressure rates in his entire career. 2023, despite, again, like I said, reduced efficiency by a decent amount, still had a pretty good season. Again, last year kind of forced more of a power sort of angle to his game. Again, solid against the run as well and was a little bit more versatile. Do I call him a true number one edge rusher? I think somewhat, but again, there's a reason the Titans didn't re-sign him. Again, the Patriots need a number one guy. I think he can definitely offer something for them, but again, in terms of the efficiency, he's not going to give you that. And Fernie Jenkins is simply just a versatile guy that can kind of plug and play everywhere. He is just not a good pass rusher, guys. Again, people are like, oh, he's super underrated. Like, yeah, he has a decent finesse move. Yeah, that's cool, but he has absolutely no power, and he has like a 5% pressure rate. It's just not going to stick. Yes, I do think he's pretty versatile. He's a valuable part of this defense, but as an edge rusher, a lot better guys you want in terms of passers. Keon White. Well, he's definitely a guy that I think works better as a 3-tech. Moving him outside will give him more opportunities to be more effective against the run, as well as kind of display that explosive step that he does, in fact, have. But yes, his finesse move won't be as effective this year, especially, again, in terms of how he's trying to develop a scissor move as well to bounce off of that. Considering, yes, as a outside guy, you do need to have a better toolbox. But again, he's a very good depth guy, and I think he's probably, again, I don't know if he's number 2 guy for them off the edge, but he'll definitely be effective enough to prove that. Braden Swinson is just straight up power. He's not that athletic. He doesn't really have much of a. I guess he definitely has a second move, but again, he's a guy who shouldn't have much of a problem beating out K'Waun Chasen, who's really just been an absolute awful NFL edge rusher since getting to the league after being drafted by the Jags in the first round of 2020. But yes, Braden Swinson's the third best pass rusher on this roster, so it's not the greatest thing in the world to have, but he's definitely proven some stuff. But for this pass rush, it's definitely not the greatest thing in the world to have, but the interior will get some pressure. Again, I don't like the pressure rates overall. For that reason, I'll give them a C+, which might be a little bit mean, but guys, Keon White, again, on the interior would definitely be an efficient guy, but I don't really consider their edge group anything more than a mystery, not even mystery, kind of lackluster. And the interior definitely could be, it could be better in terms of pass rush, but I'm going to say 24 points for that pass rush. It might be a little bit on the underrated side, but I don't really care. Time for the secondary. All right, now looking at the Patriots secondary, it's a very interesting group. The starters are, the cornerback position is definitely something to be happy about. Christian Gonzalez is probably the 3rd or 4th best corner in the league. In terms of talent, probably still the 3rd or 4th best. But yeah, he was a rare guy. Again, in terms of the size and speed and just overall fluidness, you saw again out of Oregon. That's why I was picking the 17th overall, which I think was a steal for them. Again, got injured after 4 games, 2023. Last year was downright unbelievable. You're not going to throw at him. He's going to just absolutely, lock up anyone he covers. He's an elite corner. Again, like I said, top 5 at the very least. Carlton Davis, very solid man guy. That's why you're getting him. Again, they can match and play with all these guys. Yeah, last year maybe he wasn't as productive as we've seen in the past. He's never really been a big guy for getting turnovers or anything like that. But like I said, very good man coverage. Again, he can match up against all those guys. Yes, in zone, like I said, he's not going to be the most valuable or really the most productive, but still. Carlton Davis is going to, at the very least, again, you can be a number 1 guy if you want him to. Like, really solid season in Detroit last year. Despite their secondary, be one of the, I guess, in terms of the statistically one of the worst in the football. But again, they weren't. They just gave a lot of yards. Marcus Jones. All right. This is a guy who I'm conflicting on saying he's a really valuable player because, yes, 2022 they used him more as sort of like a hybrid sort of guy, and he did a decent job. He didn't play much in 2023. He had the injury. Last season, though, I don't really know what to go off with him because, yeah, the numbers weren't bad, but he wasn't great. I don't know. He definitely showed him better ability to tackle, which is why I think he'll be a good nickel backer for them. But I think, again, his ability to play zone will definitely be something that might gravitate into him more to, like, kind of a hybrid where he was in 2023. We'll see how they were, 2022. We'll see how they work him. But, again, he had a pretty solid year overall for him last year. Alex Austin's not a guy I want to see on the field. Marcus Dial Jr., I think, has some potential. Or Marcellus Dial Jr., but, like, at the same time, he also wasn't very good last year as well, so I don't really know. They have absolutely no depth at corner. Isaiah Bolden, Kobe Minor are also not very good players. Craig Woodson's probably going to get the best shot. Again, he played for Cal last year. Kind of a stiff sort of safety-ish guy, but at the same time, he can tackle pretty well. He's going to be decent in man. His zone coverage could definitely use a little bit of work, but overall, again, I think he's a solid prospect. Again, we'll see what we can do with this team. But overall, at corner, they got a really good starting group, again, but the depth is just absolutely atrocious. But again, what am I else am I giving him? I got to give him a B+. That's probably being a little bit mean, but I don't know, do give him an A. There's just no depth. So I think that if they had depth, it would be higher. But at the same time, it's corner. What difference make? I give him an A-. Really good 1-2. Again, Marcus Jones is decent. Yeah, the depth is pretty awful, but who cares? 6, 12, 18, 20 points for the cornerback position. Time for safety. All right, at safety, you have Kyle Duggar, who, yes, in coverage, the numbers aren't going to look the most spectacular, but he's still a solid player there. Going to be awesome against the run. He's going to be very versatile. He's going to be very consistent for you. He's a really solid starter. I wouldn't go to the extent that he's like really an elite guy, but again, he's going to do a lot for you. Jabril Peppers, I do not know what the hell happened with him, like with all the freaking issues that went on with him. But again, really, just he wasn't even good last year. But 2022, 2023 with the Patriots, he was one of the better free safeties in football, more underrated guys as well. Yeah, off the field, I don't really know what the hell's going on with him, but when he plays, he's been a really good player. So yeah, that's good. Jalen Hawkins is a guy I think that's decent depth. Marcus Epps has shown things in the past. Martin Mapu's a good special teamer. Brandon Score is definitely a good special teamer. But at safety, I'm like also not really that moved. I'll give them a B+ though, because again, they got their good starters, they got their good depth. You gotta be pretty happy with this safety unit. That's gonna be 27 points. And then when we look at the overall grade, you know, I don't know, that might be a little bit high. I'll give them a B. I think that fits better. All right, now we look at the overall grade: 21, 14, 24, 20, 24. 103 points for the special team unit. Not special teams. For the defense, that's going to put them in the C+ tier, which I honestly think is fair. Again, we'll see how productive they are this year, but hopefully more than last year. That's all I got for the defense. Time for some other things before the overall roster gets, cranked out. Okay, Patriots kicker situation is just not very good. Sean Parker Ramo, I do not know who this dude is, but again, he's done stuff in the past. He's kind of old. No, he's not. Andy Borgales out of Miami. Miami's never had a good kicker, again, Roberto Aguayo and all that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's there. Bryce Behringer is freaking great punter. Marcus Jones has had, but he's been a returner. He's been pretty good. Kind of faded out last year, though. Antonio Gibson's a good returner. Julian Ashby's a solid long snapper. Their special team is usually really good, but the kicker situation is kind of scaring me, so I think I'll give them a C+ there. That's going to get them to 6 points. All right, looking at the depth for the Patriots roster, at quarterback, I'd probably give it a C-. Running back, I'd give it a B+, B+-ish. I give it a B. So if we're going to be honest like that, I'll probably get a C+. C+. Receiver depth, I'd give a D. Oh, that would be nice. A D-ish. Yeah, I think a D is fair. So we're probably down to like a C-. C-. Tight end depth, I'd probably give a C-ish, C+. C+. What are we at? Still probably at a C. C. O-line depth, I'd probably give a B-, so we're probably still at a C. Defensively, D-line, I'd probably give it a C. You can stick it a C. Linebacker depth, I'd give an A. So, I mean, maybe we're a little bit higher now. What are we going to say? A C+, maybe a B-. Let's say a C+. Edge rusher depth is kind of just not great. But, again, there's something there, so probably a C. I'd say we're still sitting at a C+, though. Cornerback depth is a complete F. That's going to be, we're probably down to a C- now. Or, yeah, C-. Safety depth, I don't know, C. So, we're probably still at a C-. All right. The Patriots are just some positions that are actually, like, what is that? 12, 16 points. Patriots depth, the biggest thing with this roster is the fact that they have some positions like linebacker where it's just like they got like 4 starters, real starters, and even Monty Rice you could throw in there if you really wanted to. And then you look at like the O-line, solid depth, but like you look at cornerback, and then you look at receiver, like what the hell? So yeah, not the greatest. Identity. All right, Mike Vrabel coming in here will put this team in a position where they will not be looking like just losing every single game. That's pretty simple. Their offense will score points. That's I think the biggest thing that I liked about them in 2020 with Mike Vrabel. Yeah, 2020 or 2021, 2022, maybe they weren't as prolific in that aspect, but their defense did get better. I don't know. This Patriots defense will be pretty darn good this year. Again, I'll tell you you guys that right now. Offensively, that they just got to be able to score more than they did last year. There's no way around it. Again, I'm a little bit worried that this supporting cast for Drake May isn't going to be good enough, but like we'll see. Identity though, I think Mike Vrabel will help this team out a lot, but like how much will he actually do that is like the real question. So I'll give them a B though, because I like where this team's going. That's going to be 15, 30, 40 points. But again, we'll look at this overall roster and see what the final verdict is. And the final point total is 252. That'll put this roster in the C+ here, which I think is where they fit. Again, the identity of this team is going to be built around the fact that their defense will be pretty darn good, and their offense, I think, will be able to, move the football somewhat decently. But again, like I said, the biggest issue is Drake May going to be able to, take a step with just straight up a skill position group that just isn't very good. The depth is concerning. Outside of that, though, like I said, their roster is much more improved than it was last year, where it was again one of the worst in football. But again, like 252 is a decent number to put up for again a team that was just still definitely in the rebuild phase for sure. But we'll see what they do this year. Maybe make some noise. Again, Stephon Diggs is definitely a huge help. But outside of that, that's all I have for the Patriots. That's all I have for the roster. I'll see them when we get to the record predictions or when we rank every team. Or yeah, but something like that. That's all I got for the Patriots. So yeah, see them for Week 1 power rankings. And yeah, we got a pretty decent team coming up next.
Austin Eckler breaks the tackle, gets a first down, still going. Austin Eckler at the 10-5, he'll score. Touchdown Chargers. To 17 game. Did I say they weren't running the ball? Well, up until that point, 35 yards.